Good morning. Good morning. May the 18th, PIN227, section 2. Calling from Earth. How's it going?
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Pretty good. Enjoying a cup of coffee. How about you?
Fine. Kind of sleepy, but
I mean,
fine.
who wouldn't be sleepy on a Monday morning?
Yeah. But I'm
I think.
so freezing too.
Mm-hmm.
It's cold outside.
It is quite cool. Here it is cold and also I can't see almost anything. It's
Yes.
totally covered.
Yes. Me too.
Yeah, actually, I was wearing a. Let me show you. The image tends to disappear here, but anyway, this is what I was wearing before the session started. You see, this is gonna be my hat for this session, and it's really cold. And I think the perfect test to find out if you're talking to a human being on a Monday morning, if the human being is sleepy or not, because I think that's part of our nature to be sleepy on a Monday morning.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree.
So good morning, everyone, everybody, brave young people awake on a Monday morning, 8:30. Congratulations for you. You all deserve the best because it's so hard to be up on a Monday morning, uh, which is cold and it's complex in this context, but you're making it. You need to collect some points for this action, right? I can see that Constance is present, Daniel, Doris, Javiera, Karen, Margaret, Inoshka, Pancho, Thais, Valentina Fuentes, Valentina Zamorano, Valentina Ibáñez. Good morning, everyone. Valentina, I went through your quiz. I sent you an email. I think I owe you the rubric, but I think you already know the grade. I mean, if you got the email, Valentina, let me know. Show yourself or send a message, all right, through the chat room. Okay, Carlos Padilla, good morning. Hello. So we are dealing with the manner of articulation in this current section of the consonant sounds, and in terms of manner of articulation, we have been practicing with some sounds, right? We have talked that manner has to do with the way in which the airstream or airflow is affected, right? It's modified, it could be blocked, it could be affected in terms of friction caused by one or two organs in the oral cavity. So you pretty much know the theory. You also have learned about the element of voicing in consonant sounds, which is not present in Spanish. Voicing in terms of sounds which are produced or articulated without vibration of the vocal folds, and others with vibration of them. And there are other concepts that I want you to just review very quickly. Does anyone remember the concept of aspiration? And anyone remembers what aspiration is? Any idea?
It's like a dream you have, but in a long time. I mean, it's something you have to achieve in a long time. Maybe something like that.
Yes and no.
Ah, well,
Uh,
sorry. Sorry. It's too early, so I confuse aspiration of air with aspirational. Sorry.
I know.
Sorry.
I know. Don't worry. It's all recorded, Pancho.
Okay.
All right. Don't worry. Okay. So,
Sorry.
no. It's all right. So, oh, there's a new feature. Raise your hand. Interesting. I hadn't seen this one. Okay. Anyone remembers aspiration? Aspiration in terms of production of consonant sounds?
It is when the air pass through your mouth when you say consonant sound like and t.
Exactly. So when you are producing these t, how can we classify that t sound, the one in at the beginning of ten, toy, timber? What kind of sound is that one? Now that we know how to, classify vowel sounds, show your knowledge now. Show off. Show off a little bit, all right? For example, we can say that t is a plosive sound. It's a plosive consonant sound. I look like those dwarves in the movies, like that. That's going to be my character for the next session, like that.
What are you doing?
All right, I'm giving you time to think. Now you had enough time to think. Okay, so show off a little bit. The initial sound in the word 10. It's a plosive sound, right? It's an alveolar sound, and it's voiceless. So we can say that t is a voiceless alveolar plosive sound. Voicing, plays, and manner, right? Voiceless alveolar plosive sound. So when we have these voiceless alveolar and plosive sounds in initial position, in English they are aspirated, right? And aspiration is a feature present in some languages. We don't have it in Spanish, though. For example, you say no tengo tiempo or tengo tiempo, but you don't say tengo tiempo, which would be the aspiration of the t in Spanish. Okay, so aspiration is a feature in which a puff of air, right, is coming out of the oral cavity every time you are producing a voiceless plosive, right? Always when in the production of a voiceless plosive, not necessarily alveolar, because t is alveolar. What about k, as in coin, cane, Kimberly? There's also a plosion, right? At the beginning, right, in initial position. But that one is, even though it's also voiceless and plosive, is not alveolar, right? Because you know that k is velar, right? A velar sound is produced by raising the back of the tongue and you're touching the soft palate or velum, right? So, t, k, and the other one is the other consonant sound that also has this aspiration feature. Do you remember which one it is? So far, t, k, and any idea about if you remember the plosive sounds? Do you remember how many plosive sounds are there? I mean, that would give you a clue. The other one is p, right? P, as in Pan, Peter Pan, right? So p, when you're producing p, how can you describe p? Let's start with voicing, right? Voicing. When you produce p, as in pit or point, do you feel vibration in the vocal folds?
Teacher.
Yes, ma'am.
I remember that we saw something about voiceless and the alveolar and velar and all of that, but I don't remember the plosive sound. I don't remember that.
You don't
Manner
remember
articulation. I think that you're talking about manners of articulation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we didn't so last week. Am I wrong?
Okay. Okay. So then let's start from that section from manner of articulation. Okay. All right. It's good that someone finally spoke. Thank you, Margaret. Okay. Let me show you something from, so we can talk about from the very beginning. Okay. So here we go. Now, I think I'm showing you a PowerPoint presentation, a slide, and that slide has a title that says voiceless sounds, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Good. So manner of articulation is the way in which the airflow or airstream that's coming out of our lungs is affected. When you say, for example, singer, right? And let's focus on initial sounds, all right? When you say singer and when you say kick, the initial sound of each of those two words is different in terms of how the airflow is modified. When you say, for example, singer, the initial sound is a continuous flow of air, right? Which goes through a small gap in your oral cavity or mouth. And there's a lot of friction there caused by the tongue, the tip of the tongue, pressed against the alveolar ridge, right? Because if you open a little bit, if you lower your tongue a little bit, the air is not going to be obstructed. So we would not be pronouncing s, right? If you try to lower the tongue from when you are producing a sound, s, this is what's going to happen. S, right? There's not going to be any sh anymore. So the tongue is being pressed against the alveolar ridge, as we already know, and that is causing a friction of air, right? But when we're saying k, as in kick, when we produce k, 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 we block the air for some, little time, for milliseconds, maybe. We block the air and then we release the air, right? And this interruption of the flow of the air is caused by the back of the tongue being pressed against the soft palate or alveolar ridge, right? Sorry, the soft palate or velum. I wanted to show you this slide, which is basically a definition for manner of articulation. The airstream is affected in different ways. That is, it can be blocked, it can be obstructed or partially blocked, and that is something that we're going to be dealing with in this session, all right? First of all, let's consider voicing, okay? Voicing refers to vibration of the vocal cords, basically, in very simple terms. If the sound that you're producing vibrates, if the vocal cords vibrate, we're talking about voiced sounds. And if the vocal cords do not vibrate, we're talking about voiceless or unvoiced sounds, all right? So we have these two categories, voiced, voiceless. Voiced when there is vibration, and voiceless when there is no vibration. Okay, an easy test is to place a hand in your throat while you're producing two sounds that are quite similar. For example, if you think about the sound s, s, and you produce it as in snake or soar or science, right? Snake, soar, science. And if you touch your throat while you're producing the sound, you should not feel any vibration in your throat, meaning your vocal cords are not vibrating. But when you're producing z, as in zip, zip, zoom, zoom, zipper, zipper, zack, zack, you should feel vibration here in your throat, which means that your vocal folds are vibrating. So when you're producing a sound like a consonant sound like s, we're talking about a voiceless sound, a voiceless consonant sound. And when we're talking about this one, z, we are talking about a voiced sound, okay, or voiced consonant sound. So in these two categories, we find many different consonant sounds. Voiceless, for example, are k, k, f, f. And you can apply the same test when you say, for example, can or coin, can, coin, okay? Or when you say, for example, fun, fun, fence, fence, finger, finger. Now in the ones at the bottom here, we can see besides z, we can see g, 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 right? As in goose, goose, gain, gain, gore, gore. So if you focused and pinpoint the initial sound of these words, you will see and perceive that this one is voiced. And the same one with v, v, the same thing, v as in van, van. Stay a little longer when you're producing the sound, v, and you will perceive the vibration, okay? Vibration, voice, voice, vibe, vibe, and that's the first classification. We're going to be classifying sounds a lot in this part of the course, And this is one big classification, whether sounds or consonant sounds are voiced or voiceless, okay? All of the vowel sounds are voiced, by the way, okay? Monophthongs, diphthongs, triphthongs, all of them are voiced, okay? Voiced. But consonant sounds can be either voiced or voiceless, okay? And it's and it's it's an interesting it's also an interesting idea to take a look at a short video and see the way in which vocal folds are actually vibrating. Have you ever seen a video in which you know, you are actually seeing the the vocal folds vibrating? No?
Yes.
Do you mind if, yeah, okay, good. All of you?
Nope.
No? Do you mind if I show you a very short video?
Nope.
No.
No,
Okay.
hopefully it's interesting to see it.
All right, so I'm going to show you a very short video, and hopefully I'm already sharing it. Here we go.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do that soft. Number E. There we go. Okay. Take a breath. E. Do it loud. Very nice. That's E. Okay. Take a breath. Higher pitch. Okay. Again. E. There you go. There you go. Do that low pitch. And do that loud. Okay, now breathe. Do that higher pitch again. Do that loud. E. There you go. One more. Loud. E. And E.
All right, so that's the video. Any impressions?
Well, that was so weird to be so early.
Right.
It was very interesting. So, yeah.
Right. So yeah, these were the vocal folds or vocal cords. All of us human beings have vocal folds, and that I mean, this enable us to communicate with each other. If you paid close attention to the video, in some way or some part of the video, the person doing this exam asked the woman to produce a high pitch sound, like right, and the vocal folds were very tense and spread. I mean, really, really long. And when she was producing a low pitch sound, you could see that the vocal folds were smaller. I don't know if you pay no attention to that fact, but the point is that when you're producing a high pitch sound, the vocal folds are more tense and and they are longer, right? And when you're producing low pitch sounds, they are shorter and they are less tense, and also they vibrate slower. when you're producing high-pitched sound, right? They vibrate faster. Really, really fast, right? And tense. Oh, very, very, not lax, but the vibration of the vocal folds is slower, and also they are not really tense. Okay, and that's an interesting feature that we all have, right? So this has to do with voicing. Voicing is the vibration of the vocal cords. Remember that vibration can be classified into voiceless or voiced, depending if the sound, the vocal, the consonant sounds that we're producing include vibration or without vibration of the vocal cords, right? Voiceless, no vibration. Voiced, yes, we have vibration in vocal cords, right? So every time we talk about a consonant sound and we describe the consonant sound, we will refer to it as a voiced or a voiceless consonant sound, okay? So by now, this should be part of your vocabulary now. Voiced, voiceless, never voice it, okay? Always voiced, voiced, okay? Voiced. That's one category, okay? Now, the other category that I want you to know about, it's called aspiration, okay? Aspiration. This feature is present in English consonants. Sorry about that. In English consonants, but not in all of the consonants in English. Okay, you have to, there needs to be some sort of rule for a consonant to be aspirated. Okay, so a consonant can be aspirated or unaspirated. Okay, consonants that can be aspirated are basically voiceless, right? And specifically voiceless plosive. Okay, we will talk about what a plosive is, but so far I want you to keep in mind the following. T, P, sorry about that, and K can be aspirated. Okay, but only what? But only when they are in initial position. Okay, so let's have some examples. In the paragraph, in the first paragraph, that I'm going to have some volunteer. Yes, ma'am.
We are still watching the video of
Yes.
Got it. I'm sorry about that.
Don't worry.
Thank you for the feedback. Thank you so much for the feedback. So, so as I was saying, aspiration is another feature that is present in.
Mister?
Yes, sir.
Could you upload this PPT to the LMS, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm 99.9% sure, just like these devices that kill germs and bacteria. They kill 99.9% of all germs. So there's like 0.1% that they don't kill. I think I already uploaded it to the LMS in the section for consonant sounds, but I'm going to double check, okay? I'm going to double check. So going back to this slide, aspiration is a feature that is present in consonant sounds, but only in some. It's always good to compare a language with your own language. So if we consider aspiration, and test it if we have it in Spanish or not. Aspiration is the feature of puff in the air. It's like saying p, p, p. So we can do that in English, with this consonant sounds like t, p, and k. So for example, in the word toy, we have t plus the diphthong oi. In pen, for instance, pen, and kite, kite. We have a k, the diphthong, and t. Okay, so you can find aspiration present in these consonant sounds, but only when they are in initial position. Okay, that's the trick. When they are not in initial position, they are not aspirated, meaning they do not have this feature of puff of air, right? It's like you're blowing air out, right? And actually, there's a very interesting feature that you can do to practice this, right? You get a piece of paper, right? And when you have this piece of paper, you puff, basically, okay? Or you place your hand in front of you if you don't have a piece of paper. So basically you do this. You say, for example, 10 or point or coin or teeth. And actually you see I'm kind of disappearing here. So you actually see the piece of paper shaking, right? Moving. You can do that with your own hand, right? You can say, for example, park, pit, pitter, and you feel the puff of air, right, in your own hand, all right? And that is called aspiration. Aspiration, okay? Only present in this voiceless consonant sound, which are also plosive. We will discuss, right, in a minute, what is this plosive concept, okay? But basically that's the idea. And how can you show this aspiration feature when you are transcribing consonant sound, right? With this small symbol that resembles a letter H, right? It resembles the grapheme H. This is not the letter H. This is a symbol that represents here aspiration. It's a small symbol that you put right above here. And for example, when you say toy, toy, when you're transcribing this, you put that little H, meaning this consonant sound is aspirated. The same thing here, pen, and the same thing here, card, okay? That small symbol is telling you or telling others that this consonant sound is aspirated, meaning there is puff of air. And as you can see here in these examples, pit, park, pool, and pen, they are all aspirated because they are in initial position. Now, what happens when this sound is in middle position or at the end of the word? The sound is unaspirated. The difference is basically the same. For example, if you say pit, the sheet of paper shakes, right? But when you say spit, it doesn't, or very, very low. The same thing with park, and then you say spark, right? Spark. So there's some influence of this initial sound into this one, right? So when you're articulating the sound p, it's not a full block of air. I mean, still a block of air, but without the aspiration feature that is present when this sound is in initial position. So when this p or t or k are in middle or final position, they are unaspirated. Okay, how can you transcribe this? With basically the same symbol without that small h, right? Let's call it small h so far, right? So span, for instance, span, it's going to be sp, a trap, right? And then just like that, without that small h, because here this is unaspirated. And for example, the same sound in the word stop, stop, or top. Let's focus now on the final sound, stop, stop, stop. If you focus here, this sound is not aspirated. We don't say stop, stop, right? Stop. I heard a song that is playing with that aspiration and unaspiration. It's a funky song. I think if I find it, I'm going to let you know. But that is just the game, right? In general, in language, final voiceless plosive sounds are unaspirated. Okay, stop. So in this transcription of the word stop, right? We don't add aspiration here, so there's no H, no puff of air. Okay, so that is a second category that you need to remember when we're dealing with consonant sounds. There might be aspiration present or not. When is this aspiration feature present in consonant sounds? In voiceless plosive sounds in initial position, right? For example, toy, pen, kite. And my suggestion is always have these favorite words, right? Always find some words that you really like, or words that you can remember, right? To remember this feature of aspiration. Questions? Is it clear? Do you want me to repeat the explanation?
Yes, it's very clear.
Okay, good. I mean, you see, you're young and smart. For me, it took me a while to understand this. When I was studying, when I was your age, it took me a while. It took me a couple of classes. So you are very, very smart. You see, I was right.
I mean, the only
And all you are good to teach.
This is complex. No, this is complex. I mean, you are smart because this is not easy.
The only hard thing to remember is that aspirated, it's like como exhalar, pero it's very similar to aspirar de aire, por ejemplo.
Ajá,
Entonces,
exactly.
eso es extraño y es como, de hecho estaba pensando por qué se dice aspirated en vez de cómo se dice exhalar en inglés, no sé.
Instead of exhalated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that, because you really don't aspire when you say pit or park.
Yeah,
That's the only thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, we cannot like agree on one new term and you know label the sound with a different name. Unfortunately, right? So
Professor, I quite a tip if you are still struggling with that.
so far we have discussed voiced and voiceless, right? Voiced and voiceless. Remember, voiced vocal cords vibrate. Voiceless sounds, vocal cords do not vibrate. Okay, that is one big classification of consonant sounds. And the second concept that we have been discussing is aspiration, right? Aspiration, which might be present, right, or not in consonant sounds. And aspiration is mainly present in initial position in voiceless plosive sounds, okay? That's important to remember. So basically the idea is to puff or not to puff, like to be or not to be, right? To puff, when to puff? When the voiceless plosive sound is in initial position. When not to puff, when the voiceless plosive sound is in middle position or in final position, right? There you puff, right? Remember, puff is that, you know, exhalation of air, right? Okay, so that's manner of articulation. We're dealing with the way in which the air stream or airflow, remember those two concepts, air stream or airflow, are affected, right? When they're coming from your lungs and finally leave your mouth. Another big classification is whether a sound is nasal or oral. I mean, you can say like, what? A nasal sound? Yeah, a nasal sound. So you're actually not talking through your nose, but you are leaving some amount of air leave your body through the nasal cavity. Interesting, right? I mean, it's like mind-blowing. So some sounds are oral, some sounds are nasal. Most of the sounds are actually oral sounds, most of them. And a very few are nasal. Okay? Any volunteer could read out, Margaret, could you read the paragraphs that are in front of you, please?
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Oral sounds. They are produced with the velum up, blocking the air from escaping through the nose. Nasal sounds when the velum is not raised and the air escapes through the nose and the mouth.
Thanks so much. Exactly. In other words, this. Okay. It's hard to read here, but it says nasal articulation, and the arrows depict the airstream leaving your body, right? Part of the air, some amount of air leaves through the oral cavity, and the rest through the nose or nasal cavity. And the sounds that are considered nasal are the ones that are here. Oof, I cannot erase this. Okay. So as in mother, meme, right? Monday, as in no, never, Nancy, and as the final sound in sing, or the one finger, right? Or king. That sound is also nasal. Okay, and what happens is that the velum here, the velum is lowered, and since this organ or this part of your body, the velum, is lowered, it allows the airstream to go through the nasal cavity. A very easy test is to touch your nose, right? Focus on the initial sound when you say mother, meme, mate, most. Okay, same thing with none, Nancy, and nine, I don't know, no, right? And sing, and you can feel the vibration here while the airstream of the air is escaping through your nostrils, right? Nostrils is that, you know, these holes that we have here in our nose. Sorry. So on the picture on the right, you can see that says oral articulation, articulation. And here the velum is up. The velum is raised, blocking the airstream, right? So the airstream has to go through your mouth and leave your body. And these are oral sounds. So and are nasal nasal sounds, and the rest are all of them oral. So this is an interesting classification, right? So we can see here that voiced oral sounds, we have, for example, this is not a complete and full list of voiced oral sounds, right? These are just examples, okay? We have b, d, and g. All of them are voiced because when you articulate the three of them, your vocal cords are vibrating, right? B, d, and g. And all of them are oral because the airstream leaves through your mouth, not your nose, right? Below we have p, t, and k. All of them are voiceless, right? Remember, no vibration of the vocal cords, and all of them are oral because of the same reason that I mentioned before. The airstream leaves your body through your mouth. And in this group, we have n, and n, which are nasal, as we already, discussed, and they are voiced as well, because there is vibration when you produce them. There are no nasal, voiceless consonant sounds. Okay, all of them are voiced. So this is a very restrictive group. Only 3 sounds are nasal, and all of them are voiced. Okay, and the other big family there then is the oral voiced or oral voiceless sounds. Mm-hmm. Okay, there are many more here, right? There are voiced oral, and many more there are voiceless oral, right? These are just examples of these 4 classes of speech sounds. This is like the big classification of consonant sounds in terms of voicing and in terms of how the airstream leaves your mouth. Okay. Okay. Now I want you to focus on this slide. Please read it and see if it makes sense to you. Can one of you read the slide?
I can.
All right, go for it, please.
Stops or plosive sounds. Stops are consonants in which the airstream is completely blocked in the oral cavity for a short period. All other sounds are continuants.
Thank you so much. So plosive sound would be the first group of consonant sounds in terms of manner of articulation. All right, this is a big category. Stops or plosive sounds. We have 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus an additional one that we're going to see that is an allophone of this one, t. Okay. When you produce this sound, this is a keyword, block. You block the air. You stop the air, right, for a very short period of time. And then you release the air as an applausion, right? P, p, b, b, t, d, k, g. When you say button, mountain, button, right? This a glottal stop, right? Stop. So these are the 6 consonant sounds that are considered to be glottal stops. Let me see if I can find a website. I think I have it right here. Okay, I'll get it now. I'm going to post this link in the chat room, so you can take a look at them. Just a second. Phonetics, okay. Frigate plus it. Okay. Okay, I want you to go and visit this website on your own now. Chat right here.
Right now?
Yes, sir, right now.
Okay.
Okay. So the trick is you go to the website, and at the top there is a section which you can click to play. So you are going to listen to the speaker while you're reading. It's very short. It's not going to take you longer than 1 minute. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you.
Okay, teacher.